I will commend KT on. You don't need to ban Jace out here. You will get it yourself, but winning with it is the other side of the coin. On that one, the Galio and the Kalista will probably be parted, you would imagine. We'll see if SnowFlower wants to just return to the Thresh, though, because SnowFlower's roam and that pick, that pivotal pick onto Roller, almost straight up won them the game.
Exactly. So the Galio is going to be snapped up like you were talking about. So going to be denied there. Is Gen.G thinking about what they want to pair with the Kalista? Live can head towards the Thresh if he wants to. As far as the trifecta of supports that you want to play with the Kalista, it's the last one available, but Braum could work as well.
I'd like to see Gragas actually here.
Yeah, Gragas would be fantastic.
I think life on pure disengage has looked pretty average, whereas that's been actively good on engage. You understand why Braum, because the enemy, of course, has a Jace, and you can think compositionally it might end up being a lot of poke, but Braum hasn't necessarily been a strong pick for life. However, the Orianna worked out. Sometimes you can go for the more standard choices, and will be the Braum for KT, or for Gen.G, I should say.
Yeah, also he's going to add a little bit more to the team fight power as well. I mean, if you can Fate's Call into a fight, get a bunch of knockups, and then put him in the bouncy castle with your ultimate there as well, you can understand exactly what the composition wants to do, but somehow we've looked over the fact that the Lucian was left available and is an option here for Zenit. Snaps it up very quickly alongside the Galio bottom side of the map.
That cluster priority meant that KT could wait to this pick to take a top-tier AD carry, so it wasn't as pivotal once it wasn't selected at first, and they just will go for some power for Zenit. Want to find him some agency in the early game. So Lucian, Galio in the bot lane, and Jace top lane is definitely some strong lanes for KT to play around. And Peanut going to be persisting on Jarvan duty unless CuVee's gotten the flex on that Jarvan.
Yeah, so Yorick is going to be banned once again. CuVee going to be denied that one, and of course the Yorick did do very well in the hands of Sword in our previous series, but very different players.
Real chance you could go Jarvan into Jace. Yes, it's not great, but in the LEC we see a lot of Jarvan versus these more tricky ranged matchups where you just go summon an area and try to poke and just not get taken out of lane. That's not a surefire way to win. Yes, if Jace closes the distance, you can actually take down the Jarvan, but just an outside thought given the matchup that we see. But it's almost certainly top lane on the Jace. See, there's another top laner that's actually banned here. No, it's going to be that Orianna. So they're just saying, Fly, you have to go even further for relevance. Notice, not Aurelion Sol.
Well, notice BDD is on KT, and they actually have the next pickup, and a mid laner would be a decent one. I mean, they could just snap it away from Fly if they really want to take him off comfort.
Don't know if that's worth the contested pick, but I understand your logic. Gen.G gonna respond in kind and say mid lane matchup's gonna be all new in game number 2. So looking for a mid laner and a jungler here. RKT, they could just take Rek'Sai again. It wasn't the problem. It was some of the decision-making issues from score in game number 1. And the Gragas is something they considered. Now you can just fully disengage a Kalista or bounce her into a fight, and both of them usually work out the same way. You can just knock her out of a Ren set, and then she just has to get all her spears again, or you knock her in and feel good. Your knockups, though, Yasuo hover, understandable. And I know a lot of people aren't fans of this. We're going to see a Lulu mid lane from Gen.G.
Yep, and we're going to see it ran back as far as the top lane matchup is concerned, as well as BDD. Oh, just do it. Just do it,
He's the most famous one.
Absolutely. I mean, Wild Growth doesn't do a whole lot of good things for Zed's life, but
I
just do it, man.
I actually don't mind it here. I think this is a pretty decent spot for a Zed or Yasuo. You think about how the game works.
There we go.
You're happy to find Lulu in the side lane as a Zed. Yes, of course, her kit has some answers to a Zed. So he ends up going for the Yasuo, but I could have seen it. I actually could have seen it there. But sadly, Bed is the confirmation in the Zed for Bed equation. When it comes to the decision, he's got a lot of knockups, and the knockup party should be ended and well attended by Yasuo.
Exactly, and I mean, he has one of the best Gragas jungles of all time.
Agreed.
Behind him as well. And
the Hillbilly's back.
Exactly, finally. As Score and BDD will be able to do what a lot of bottom lanes have done in the past. I mean, I feel like this duo is one of the best Yasuo duos. The Gragas does give him a whole lot of different options, and the body slam can set up for these kills. So BDD going to have a lot of onus on him to have some control here this game. But Lulu controlling a wave is certainly something that she's known for. Whether she wins it hard or anything like that is certainly up for debate, but she can certainly throw a little ants and kill minions.
It does feel a bit like Gen.G wanted the same comp again, and have gone for an inferior version, because the scenario is going to be similar when it comes to the knockup party, but they don't have a shockwave this time. They have Lulu, who has very little damage in the late game. So suddenly, someone else has to pick up the damage, and I guess if you're fighting really early, the Lulu gets an Ardent Sensor, it's 2-item Callista, maybe there's that timing window, but it's not the win button in the late game. In fact, it feels like the win button in the late game team fights more often than not is on the side of KT.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, you get a last breath in there. We know Score can land these barrels extraordinarily well. I mean, the Braum is going to be fantastic at denying the Graggers. It's almost like Gen.G saw the future with that pickup. But I don't know whether it's actually going to be enough to deny, especially around the early skirmishes where the Braum may not be in position. An exciting one. We'll see what happens in game number 2.
They're on the KT side, but man, were they loud.
They certainly were. Normally, the Gen.G fans are over on this side, so a little bit of a change up as KT certainly almost blasting our eardrums out.
This is a really dated reference, but I was instantly remembering it, so I want to bring it up. When I first came into the LCK 2015 summer that we talked about a lot because of SKT's winning in that season, Samsung Galaxy, which of course is the genesis of the Gen.G lineup you see today, had a lot of really interesting one-of strats. They would win game 1, even though they were right down the standings against good teams, and then the main champion would be banned, and they'd be like, well, this champion's sort of similar.
Yeah.
And then it just would lose because they didn't have kind of a second, third, fourth plan, right? They just tried to do a off-brand version of the same plan. Getting that feel in this game, because for a lot of reasons, I'm not a huge fan of this Lulu lineup. The other problem is, the one area that Yasuo will be categorically better than the Zed that we really hope to see from BDD is in the side lane, you whimsy the Yasuo, and then he kills you. Like, you're not actually going to disengage damage from that. He's still going to catch up for you unless you're going to flash over a wall. So I feel like in the side lane, the Lulu will suffer. In the Wombo, they're going to lack damage. So outside of just rule or hard carrying at 20 to 30 minutes, it does feel like in many ways, KT got the better of Gen.G in the draft.
But Gen.G got the better of KT on the bottom side of the map, even though Life didn't land the Winter's Bite. CuVee still struggling here towards the top side of the map. We know how this one works. I've seen this show before.
Yeah, it's kind of pain for CuVee, and he waits for his moment. But he was able to go Randuin's third. You know, he went for the standard Frozen Mallet play, the Ruin King. He could be a tanky boy again, but he won't necessarily be the secondary damage dealer that Rule is going to crave. And I don't know if a Warrior Enchant Jarvan is the way forward, so wait and see. But that's where my hesitation is based on pick ban. It's not always about pick ban. The play also can, of course, be so pivotal. It's pretty significant that Callista Braum have got such a lane control this early in the laning phase.
And we did actually see it in our last series that Callista does have a pretty good time against the Lucian, especially now that Ardent Blaze can't have a cheeky few points shoved into it since the recent nerf. It is the Piercing Light that you're going to be maxing, and she can use Martial Pose and get out of the way of that one. As Fly, that was a nice dodge on the Steel Tempest. She's able to offer back a fair bit of damage, but BDD is a little bit more consistent when it comes to a Yasuo.
Tina is actually very, very
playing
close.
With fire, right?
I believe everyone knows about everything there. That Peanut didn't actually go over the wall.
I love the Hillbilly walk, man. It's so good.
Guys, unaware, the reason why we talked about Hillbilly and big fans is that Score only uses Hillbilly Gragas. He did not move over to the Arctic Ops that people said was broken.
Yep.
He sticks with what he knows. He knows how to be a Hillbilly.
Damn right he does. And also, you know, Scuba Gragas is so cool. I mean, there's so many Gragas skins that just seem like they're better than Hillbilly, but no. Score is committed.
And Score is the ultimate get-off-my-lawn player in the LCK, given that he is the only OG still playing in the league.
Oh, wow. SnowFlower takes probably the worst trade ever.
Galio Support was, of course, on a 8-game losing streak before we kicked off the games yesterday, but has found success since. Had to be taken away. It feels like right now the 2v2 blind pick duo is Callista Galio.
Yep.
Feels like there's always one, right? We're always saying they can't allow them to have those two champions on the red side, and that is the Callista Galio right now. Unless you're Draven. Then Draven just comes in and does his thing.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the Galio support is still very, very strong, but a lot of the tools that Galio likes to come up with are banned away beforehand. So Callista teams with very notable Callista players, I mean, that Callista is generally banned very early, and so far in this series, she has been first picked both times as Zenit takes a horrific trade. And Ruler with, you know, control in the early game is certainly someone that you do not want to be contending with.
Very, very rare that a team can have as little success as Gen.G in 2019 and a player comes out pristine. Especially a player who's a former world champ. It's not Teddy where you're like, well, this rookie's 1v9ing. That means something, right? But when you're like, Ruler, formerly world championship MVP of 2017, is still playing just as good, that means something else.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when his team is almost having a worse time than the majority of others here in the LCK.
First pro game of Kalista for Ruler. He's never played this pick before.
I was wondering about that. He doesn't seem like a Kalista player.
Actually, no, I tell a lie. It's actually his 13.
Oh, okay, never mind.
1 and 13, same, right?
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
His first game, he played it quite a bit really a long time ago and then abandoned it for a long time. But bringing it back and looking clean on it, no surprises there, so no debates.
Yeah, I feel like it's similar to a point that you brought up yesterday on broadcast where you talk about things for the first time and someone comes back and says, no, but in 2012 that happened. It's a very different time now.
That's
you know,
usually
the game is very
I'm
different.
usually that guy, you know,
I
the one
know,
with that
me
really
too.
annoying voice that you gave to me. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Tell me how you really feel, Atlas.
It's my best Papa Smithy impression, okay? I can't be perfect. Your voice is actually very difficult to mimic, by the way. So,
The weird American-Australian thing I've got going
yeah,
on with a bit of British.
With a bit of British there as well, thanks, Dad.
Well, it sounds like a nice breakfast, at least. Smeb in his winning lane as CuVee has self-counterpicked himself a second time. It worked out in game number 1, so you understand why. Smeb has been given so much space by CuVee.
Yep. Really nice plate gank to come in there, just to make sure CuVee has to jump away from his turret. And Smeb walks up and easily takes down the first turret plate here up towards the top side of the map. I believe first of the game, and yes. There's going to be the confirmation. CuVee jumps into him, powered shock blast. That's bad news.
This looked really funny.
Yeah, I know,
Just
right? It's
the
like he's
bounce
playing
animation.
like basketball or something like that. I'll catch it. It's not what you want to do. Peanut's going to spot Smeb, moving down the river here, just doing some scouting.
Australian cricketer Narskin. He turns into Shane-Warne when he gets big.
Here's the flipper.
Well,
No one's going to get that reference.
no. But we're enjoying it, Atlas.
Yeah, thank goodness.
You know,
At least we're
it's been
having
a day.
fun. It
We're
has.
in our 5th game of the day at 10 p.m. Because, of course, the first series was one of the best of all time and went nice and long, exactly how we would like it.
Absolutely. We got treated. And now we've got a series between Gen.G and KT that has certainly been a lot more exciting and a lot more interesting than I was expecting.
Well, the danger of it being 2 teams entrenched in the bottom 3 is sometimes it's just 2 bad teams who don't know how to win, right? And
Yeah.
that's never fun to watch. That's not the sort of fiesta you're looking for. It ended up being some good moments for both sides, but KT having the proactive early game they needed to, and then falling away, and Gen.G waiting for their moment and gleefully accepting. I haven't seen that Lulu skin before.
No, neither have I.
It's very visually busy.
It is very busy. And as you know, if you're playing against it, you don't really, you often look at a lot of, you know, Lulu's animations to think about, you know, where the glitter lance is going, things like that. I would have, it looks like she's permanently glitter lancing.
No, I was going to say, it actually feels like a bit of power because I look at that skin and I wish I had Lulu's mid lane skin effects turned low because it's actually quite a lot of
Yeah,
blurring on
that's
it, and it's tilting me.
And I think you can, I mean, I know most players play with
So if
effects
you're a Lulu
turned very
main,
low.
buy that skin. It seems good.
Yeah. Well, Peanut's going to make his way back down again, and Zenit face checks him. I've seen this one before, guys, and that's First Blood going over to Gen.G, much like it did in game number 1.
Gave him a Cosmic Smash with the dunk on this skin, goes straight into the Death Chamber. Zenit just, you know, he's a curious boy. His Dora the Explorer just takes him down.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. But he is so curious. He just wants to get around the map.
A brush. What is inside?
What could it be? Could it be a bow? Is it a Garen? BDD. You're going to masterfully just skate around these minions, much like you can. And Gen.G are going to, very well deserved, pick up a Mountain Drake. And Score is going to discover a blue buff that he's not allowed to take. CuVee tells him no, but it looks like he's actually able to draw it out. I don't know whether CuVee can do anything against 3 members of KT.
BD mostly walking up to use his ultimate, obviously not interested in stealing away the blue buff. It's going to be a blue buff trade.
Yep.
As long as it doesn't go on to Fly, it is net positive to KT because Fly wants blue and BD doesn't care.
Yep. And Score waiting in the wings, wants to be able to set up a knock-up. Level 8 here for the Yasuo, so Last Breath available, of course. Fly does, of course, have Wild Growth and can do all those annoying Lulu things.
Are we doing it?
He is going to be okay. That's a visual bug.
Wait,
That was
drunk
real
on the
good.
visual bug.
Oh, that was super cool.
I've never seen that before.
I know. I haven't seen a button be pressed.
Yeah, I think that's a new bug.
It's a Score exclusive bug where you can do the walk up to the turret.
The whole
and taunt
point is
someone
that you
without
put in a
actually
movement
ever doing
speed
it.
command and it's not actually updated on the spectate client, so you walk too far.
Ah.
So how do we drink?
I don't know, man. Because you can do it while you're walking? I don't know, but that was probably one of my favorites. And we've seen Shelly do some really weird stuff, but that was still my favorite. It just looked like a taunt. It looked like he was like, yeah, Fly, what you gonna do? But he wasn't actually there.
We learned something today. Nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop Gragas from drinking.
Yep.
Well, he really wants to just find the kill on Fly. Remember, Fly doesn't have cleanse. Obviously not that much use here. Here we go.
Yep, Flash has to be used, and Fly gets out of the way. I actually feel like he could have just sped himself up and wandered and allowed the ultimate to do it, but giving it as much respect as possible, and I respect that coming out of Fly.
Well, respect for respect is something that Zenit hasn't shown. He's been willing to face check Brush that has led to his death. Pretty much mirror circumstances, 2 games in a row. Peanut looking for a Skydunk victim. PDD doesn't have a minion wave to surf off, so I actually probably would have had the flash there, but not going to find anything. We are very skeptical, Atlas and I, that the payoff on this Lulu is worth it, but when it comes to laning phase, definitely not finding a CS lead in a range versus melee matchup.
Yeah, and I'd like to just quickly clue you in on the win rate of the Lulu so far.
How's it going,
in the
Atlas?
LCK. I'll give you that update. Hopefully nothing happens on the screen. As you can see,
I'll watch
Peanut
the
was
screen
thinking
for you.
about
I'm ready to play by play.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks, man. Let me just go down the line. She won 1 game.
Oh!
Out of 5.
Oh.
Oh, that's I actually remember the game she won. I was actually pretty sure she was on 0%.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm perplexed. Smeb up here towards the top side having a great time against Dinar, but not as good a time as he had in game number 1, where he was able to be fed a kill very early on.
What does it all mean? It's fun how we've had 2 series that are both impressionist paintings. When you have the first series, you're like, but it's the next level, next level, next level. Was that next level here? I'm not sure. In the second series, you're like...
You're trying to work out whether it's a mistake or a conscious decision, you know?
Definitely in the second series. You're,
that's what I mean, yeah. The first series, definitely.
You're looking for 200 IQ in the first series, and you're definitely lower on the IQ quotient on the second
yeah,
series.
Exactly right. But what are they using the IQ for? I was just wondering whether Score was actually there. Turns out he was.
Of all the champions to be visual bugging and either there or not there, Gragas, the most clearly present person.
Obviously Secret Agent Gragas, you know. Oh, CuVee not going to find too many boomerangs here, but he's just happy to continue here in this game. Score looking for the dive, actually. This could be a problem. He doesn't have a huge Naba, and that's just going to be the flash. Smeb finishes it off, and Score happily tanks that one up. Looks like he's done that one before, Papa Smithy.
Well, the dog champ, unfortunately, off the leash, straight off. We'll have to find him later. He's gone in the top side. The Gnar continues to try to lose gracefully. The Gragas can stop the Grace side of that, but Peanut trying to come up with the mirror play down low.
Yep, he's going to go straight in there as well as Zenit. They're looking for the knock-up. He finds it as well as Ruler picked up turret aggro. That's a bad news story as SnowFlower comes in. Gen.G use their teleport to get under here, and they do guarantee the kill, but Smeb too late on his teleport to follow up.
Trying to get everything, a KT Rolster, melee range ultimate from Zenit. Didn't want to get the flash for follow flash, wanted to re-enter lane with flash, so just dies. And they're going for the turret now.
All right, Life, I don't know what that one's about, but the flash from SnowFlower is really going to help KT out here. That's the interrupt on the hero's entrance, but it is going to be Jace picking up the kill regardless.
Well, that was a fiesta, and it ends up with a trade of kills, but with the Rift Tower being summoned, and Score is going to be a farmed techie boy up top.
Yeah, I've seen this one before. It was Tarzan that did it last time. Now it's Score. Takes himself the Rift Herald, takes himself to top lane, and gets a whole bunch of money. This Gragas is going to have a lot of it, and remember, this guy is the sole magic damage dealer on his team. I mean, you can ignore Galio basically, so he really does need to have a couple of items to keep his team with a decent damage profile.
Smeb hit everything, that's why CuVee entered on half health. And no respect flash, no life, didn't have to use anything there, did Smeb. Here's the mirror play. The start of it, and the only peculiar thing is how amusing it is for Peanut. He can't get any help because of the zone, but he gets to kill Zenit mid-ultimate. Zenit's 50 range using his ultimate. Doesn't want to flash because he knows Peanut can follow flash and wants to stay in the laning phase afterwards. The re-engage here is the interesting part. They know Smeb's mana's pretty low, but already Kallista's given up on this, and they go for it anyway.
Yeah, and this is like a just why situation. And speaking of which, that's going to be KT taking down the first Infernal Drake of the game. Next one going to be an Ocean, so no clouds so far today.
The worst part is, they didn't even wait for the minion wave.
Yeah,
straight on
that's what I
dive.
mean. That was the real strange part. I'm like, so Life, what's the plan here? And Life donation seemed to be the thing, as that pun was unintended, guys.
Here's what I'll say. Often in League of Legends, teams will make the right play at the wrong time.
Yep.
Not often do you see the wrong play at the wrong time, but they did it. They nailed it. It was the wrong play at the wrong time.
Yeah. So even if they waited for the minion wave, I mean, still
It
probably
was so
wouldn't
much
have
time.
been great. Yeah. Well, Zenit going to be engaged on once again. SnowFlower doesn't find any taunt there as the Unbreakable's great at stopping the Winds of War, but Peanut now looking for a turnaround, just dunks on top of Score. So I don't think he can actually get anything done as PDD's here. Score's going to go down. Ruler does grab that kill, and CuVee has made it through here. The Mega Gnar is available, but not the ultimate. Doesn't matter. Double kill for the Kalista.
TP advantage gets them the double kill, but they'll want objectives from that Atlas. It feels good. You get double buffs on Ruler, just the man who needs to carry this game in the mid game. Based on our analysis, no turret plays, but they want the damn turret.
Yep, CuVee's going to come on down, and they have to respect the 3-man versus 2, and this turret is certainly going to be taken down. Really nicely done there from Gen.G. Not quite a gold lead just yet, but we're very, very close. And I do want to talk about something that I was thinking about a little bit earlier on, as I won't be able to, as it's the teleport replay.
We're seeing actually the Mega Gnar bar here that's been ultimate. That's why Peanut engaged.
Building it up.
It looks like a suicide, and effectively it is. But they actually have to use the cast to get the ult, and then CuVee shows up in Mega Gnar, and BD says, what are the chances of that? Turns out, it was all planned by Gen.G.
Yeah, really nicely done. And Gen.G playing around Gnar certainly is something that they've been very good at for many years. And this is a weird part of that, though, is the fact that it's Peanut that's able to navigate it so well, and he's the only recent addition to this team.
And you know, Peanut's been around a really long time now. He's been playing since 2015. I don't remember that many Jarvan games from Peanut. It doesn't feel like a mainstay of his champion. Maybe in the SKT days in 2017.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I feel like he was...
How many games of Jarvan... I can find this information out. How many games of Jarvan do you think he's played in his career?
25.
That's a really high number. I would have said less than 10. You're going to take over 10?
Yeah, I'm going to take the 25. I'm doing it. I'm not scared. It just feels like a Peanut champion, you know? It feels like something he can play.
It's 12.
12, damn it.
So 14 now, as of these two games. So I was definitely closer on that one.
Yeah, you were.
Play-by-play, by the way. But yeah, never really been his wheelhouse. Remember, he's the Italy guy, so you just don't think of him so much on the Jarvan. Like the Zac, usually, in other scenarios.
Yeah, he does like going forward, and did certainly in his heyday. So that's why I sort of felt like Jarvan would have been a few more games. But remember, I'm a more recent addition to the LCK crew, so not really as up with the history.
700 gold lead for KT. We like where this game is going for them. There's no guarantee. It's still Jace, right? We were, of course, very against Jace in team fighting comps in the previous game. Score walks up, we assume.
And not walking. He's plodding briskly,
I think. I mean, at this point.
Yeah, is he even hit?
Who knows?
Take another drink, Score. As KT not able to take down this turret just yet. CuVee is around, and Peanut, he's going to turn up. I almost thought that was another visual bug, as this is getting just ludicrous. Top lane outer turret is being poked down by Lulu, and picks up there in the hands of Fly.
He's going to get it eventually. And I put the emphasis on eventually. He doesn't do that much turret damage.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like the tempo is certainly in KT's advantage here at this point. Still not going to be above 1,000 gold lead, and as that turret falls down, it's now within about a kill's worth of gold for one person. So very, very close match here at 18.5 minutes.
But we're close to the point where it feels like Gen.G actually have a meaningful 5v5 advantage, which is 2-item Kalista, and things like base damages and Lulu's poor damage scaling, meaningless, which is around the 20 to 25 minute mark. They don't have the Infernal. They wish they had that one. That would have really put them over the edge, but they got 40% CDR Lulu and a Kalista about to hit the 2-item spike. That is where Gen.G really want to put the roll call out there for KT and see what 5v5 fights it can get them to rock up to.
Yeah, and actually I wanted to talk about this before until that replay did come in, but having the Lulu actually helps out a Kalista a little bit more than, say the Orianna did in the Tristana composition. Just because Lulu can get to those 2 items if Ardent Sensor comes in next, it certainly will be a Kalista with 2 items well and truly online after that point. Now the Kalista has followed that one through, and now Fly just needs to finish that one off.
And it does mean that they'll get the double scale. Remember, attack speed and movement speed are what the Kalista passive scales are. You're going to get more movement speed for longer than just the dissonance, and we'll have the attack speed coming, as that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, Wild Growth does come in there eventually for Fly. Hasn't used his flash just yet, as Whimsy's going to be there. Oh, the flash had to respect there, as now KT are looking for the Gnar, and they'll find him. Hero's entrance comes down just to finish that one off. SnowFlower's going to help lock down yet another Drake for KT.
You can't build towards an Ardent Sensor in the side lane and take Jace. That's not how it works. Goodbye, Fly. Goodbye, Ocean Drake. They won on both sides of the map, and they got the objective.
Exactly. I don't think anyone has the opportunity to hold down the Jace this time. It's 2-0 for him at this point.
Well, they got the guy who at least is building armor.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Warden's Mail
hedge some bets. Unfortunately, that wasn't the lane assignment they were looking for. Not sure if they just started off with Jace getting the drop.
Peanut. Huh. Visual bug flash. I don't know, man. I just don't know why he'd EQ in there to try and steal a big chicken.
Back to that impression spot.
Yeah, I think so. It's I mean, it takes a while to fully understand great art, you know?
It's a bit of a visual bug of a series.
I feel like the visual bugs have been the highlight.
So, you want a highlight?
Uh-huh, give it to him.
It's going to be this moment, I guess. It was actually not what I was reaching for. Smeb just instant killed him because he's Jace. Yeah. Is in fact the Lulu as then he just killed the Gnar.
He did, in the picture-in-picture. So we get to see that one again, and now we get to see CuVee face checking and dying, and then Smeb doing even more, as I hope that we'll just get the replay of the other one that was happening during the replays. Now everything's happening while this replay is going on, as the Kalista does take down SnowFlower. Ruler doing a great job so far this game. He's got a 700 gold bounty, just ignoring everything else that's happening on the map. It's straight up disaster elsewhere, but this guy looks pretty good, and he's on a mid-game spiking champion.
But unfortunately, there's no Ardent Sensor yet, so there's not as much value in Fly just being a second support standing next to
it's there now.
the Kalista. It's there now, but the problem is, if the lane assignment isn't speeding up the Kalista, it's Infinity Edge second Yasuo who will kill the Lulu really fast, or it's Jace who also will kill the Lulu really fast.
And also, I think they just need Smeb to disconnect, and then Gen.G are in a great spot because they can't answer him in a side lane. As you can see right here, illustrated pretty perfectly with CuVee just getting thrown straight into the death chamber.
Well,
do not pass go, do not collect 200.
2018 Smeb has finally reconnected to the server. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank goodness. SnowFlower's just going to die here in this replay. Sorry for the spoiler.
A lot has happened in replays.
It has. I feel like we need to just watch the live game and then we'll catch more.
The replay is so much more reliable. There's no visual bugs.
Hey, that's true.
Can we watch this game in replay? At 2x speed.
We potentially could. It's possible. We have the technology. Peanut does too. Wants to be able to start something here, as Ruler does get a decent amount of chunk damage onto Zenit. He gets a bit of his health back with his Blade of the Ruin King.
Ruler has his core and a Lulu next to him. They want to fight now. They want an honest 5v5.
Yeah, looking for SnowFlower, but he turns it all the way around. Peanut immediately goes into stasis at full health. Zenit throws out the culling, but can't kill the Jarvan. CuVee's got a gigantic Narbar, and KT play around it very nicely.
And Ruler really wants the 5v5 now, but KT win in the side lane, and they don't have to fight unless they really want to.
Yeah, back stopped, and PDD not able to get the knock up there. Score was looking for it as well. Live has the Unbreakable on cooldown, but KT not in position.
There probably will be no better item timing for Gen.G in the 5v5. Yes, there's power on KT's side, but you got to play towards what you got, and you know you can't match the 1-3-1 with Lulu. But problem is, they don't have enough map control to actually drag members of KT without doing something like tanking a Baron or tanking a Mountain Drake. The ARAM in the mid lane isn't going to price KT in to a 5v5 unless they really want to lose this series fast.
And you can see how difficult it is for Gen.G as well. I mean, Fly needs to find times where there's no one in a lane in order to clear out minions. It's happening once again, but there's a pesky Yasuo there. Thankfully for CuVee, he got some spare time towards the bottom side of the map to try and catch up a little bit, but as you can see, it's not quite enough. It's 35 CS. In advantage for Smeb, his score going to get pierced, but otherwise he's going to be absolutely fine. Pierced is what I said, by the way. And no, Hillbilly Gragas makes you think of something else. No?
No.
Weren't with me?
No.
Come on, mate, you're Australian. All
Well,
right.
we'll be having some cheeky bevies later, I'm sure, to relive the amazingness that was this match day, whatever the result in this one.
Yep, I feel like we've had a trip over the rainbow when it comes to every sort of League of Legends experience so far, and this game too is not necessarily on the highest end, but is still entertaining. I still, at this point in time, don't necessarily know who's going to be able to figure this one out. KT do have the advantage when it comes to the gold, and in the theoretical win condition, but crazy things have happened, Papa Smithy.
But it's so hard for me to tell you what a Gen.G win looks like, even though the items are ahead of schedule for the Kalista, who was the one who needed to fight early to vindicate this Lulu knockup comp that didn't have the Orianna as a secondary threat. The reason why I say that is the best case scenario of actually getting KT to fight a 5v5, which right now they have very little incentive to do so, is against Infinity Edge Yasuo, a Jace that's murdering people. Your front line is conditional because you need a Lulu to actually give people the health. Like, there's really a pick your poison issue, and it seems like all of them favor KT.
And BDD is like, he went for the solo queue Sylvie Yasuo build, and he's doing the solo Sylvie Yasuo plays, just sitting in a side lane the entire game. And it's working. And it's the right play.
Amazing
crazy
things
happening.
can be said. We're saying all these things out loud today.
Yeah.
In 2019, we're getting the zoom out to show there's a lot of threat and just so little answers. There's nothing they can do. And man, the Hillbilly Waddle is funny.
I know, it's so good. It's so good. I feel like there's just so many different emotions happening in this game, and that's just going to be the success of the split push comp that KT have put together.
Gen.G have found an objective. That's one way to get KT to come to them. Mountain Drake would be a nice pickup for KT.
That's true, but Peanut can't tank Shock Blast as well as the Dragon. That's a dangerous one.
Whoa.
As we're going to look for the trade here is KT. The rest of Gen.G are going to move away. They do get themselves the Mountain Drake, and KT decide they don't have enough time, so that's a freebie over to Gen.G.
More respect than I expected from KT Rolster, but they don't have vision in that area, so even if they want to use or start a team fight, they're not sure they can pull it off with no vision. So Gen.G picking up a Mountain Drake is a nice pickup for them. Go back to fly. Just wave clearing as safely as possible. Running out of turrets to take. All the easy objectives have been pretty much stacked up by KT Rolster.
Yeah, precisely. So Fly, it feels like whenever he's in a side lane, I'm imagining the Lulu tiptoeing, trying not to make too much noise and awaken a Yasuo that could just jump out of the brush at any time. It feels like that level of terrifying for Fly this game. He, of course, decided this.
BDD ain't no Sterix. Yasuo.
Nope. No, GA next by the looks. Unless he wants to sit on the stopwatch and goes full Silver Solo Queue and gets the Bloodthirster as his third item.
It's a Silver Solo Queue game. Gen.G sneak the Baron with double Mountain Drake Kalista.
Without sweeping the pit.
I mean, so far, the Silver Solo Queue analysis you're talking about's worked out, so...
Yeah, that's true.
KT just can't leave.
You're the one that talks about next level levels, right? Next level for this game is they're not going to expect the Silver Solo Queue plays.
I think that's pretty good about the trust me. BD swoops around. They don't have the vision on Gen.G. And Zenit does like to face check.
SnowFlower does as well, and he's going to get knocked up, and Life is going to follow through with an ultimate that no one is going to do anything about. That score, party casking here in the mid lane, as Smeb wants to lock down Ruler. Fate's Call's going to be there. No, of course it isn't, because Life just used it to throw himself under a turret. That was a very weird passage of play.
And yet, it continues, Atlas.
Yeah, Ruler underneath this turret does have a lot of shields, and of course the Ardent Sense are going to be helping out here as finally Fly and Ruler are standing next to each other. KT buy themselves a lot of space, but Peanut still has very easy access towards this Baron pit.
Again, KT do not accept the invitation to ARAM. Your 1-3-1 is so powerful. Lulu has nowhere to go. She cannot attend until the minion wave is pushed into her. If you walk up anyway, though, Cask still on cooldown.
Yeah, Life actually looked like that was a visual bug, but no, he was actually that close to the Lucian, taking 3 damage. Fly finds himself a minion wave that's knocking on the front door of Gen.G's base, and then just being ran around in circles. KT just spending enough time as a group of 3 in order to draw Gen.G over, and then everybody else jumps out and pounces. I feel like these minion waves have never been in a good spot for Gen.G.
They have not, but not to any mortal doom. Lethal damage has not been put in here. And that means that for now, we're waiting to see KT's Baron play. The Baron is the scene of the crime. That's how Gen.G wins. A mess up for KT around Baron, where Ruler gets to free auto on this Kalista. Ruler's so strong, has a 900 bounty.
Yeah,
and that's not just kills. He also has double lifesteal. He'll live way longer than you'd expect.
And he's also been weaving a whole lot of these abilities really beautifully. The pierces that land on champions is not something that we talk about a lot because often it doesn't happen, and it happened right then as we were watching. Normally cast curse Kalistas, but this time around Ruler is actually staying up to his credit as Gen.G just decided to pull the trigger on the Baron, and they know that their Kalista is extremely strong. And they've got an Ardent Sensor as well. CuVee doesn't have much of a Gnar bar as Score gonna come on over there looking to lock him down as Gen.G pull off the Baron. Oh, so unfortunate, and they just lose their Gnar and are unable to get anything. Inside track now on the outer turret, mid lane, and KT will take a kill and a tower for basically no contest.
Very decisive by KT. Just kill the person who's not grouped the rest of the team. They anticipate the flank. Now they push forward. Jace does some damage.
Yeah, exactly, and Fly unfortunately just does not. Even without a Baron buff, these Glitter Lances are not really working as there's a Cataclysm. Peanut gets a Wild Growth and now won't be available on anyone else. BDD jumping on forward, doesn't have the ultimate, remember, used it on CuVee. And now they think that the health bars are low enough for KT to just go and do the Baron.
And it seems like Ruler forgot that he actually used his QSS on the knock-up there, even though there was no ultimate for BDD. So he rolls out, that means QSS down, Cleanse still on cooldown.
Yeah, Ruler gonna play frontline here as Redemption gives vision of this Baron pit. Peanut should be able to get in there, but it's not going to be enough. Immediate flash out does come in, and Gen.G can still save this if they can win this team fight, but KT's disengage is still happening. Fate's Call, he's gonna get a lot of AoE, and the red sets have started. Fly gets pounced on, and Ruler's just getting ran around this fight. Peanut wants to find SnowFlower. BDD, the sticks have launched themselves in there, and now the bounce back on CuVee. Ruler gets another one. Can he get it? As Score jumps on forward, the rend is going to be used without a reset, and Ruler has to back away.
Man, that was definitely what we thought would happen when it comes to Ruler, but unfortunately all his allies fall around him, and he doesn't have a second frontliner to make the play happen, and now Smeb says, I'm going to blow you up.
Yep, and Ruler has absolutely no idea as the Empowered Shock Blast doesn't land. This might actually be a big deal moment, because remember, you need to lock him down, but there the hammer falls, and that is 900 gold claimed for the Jace.
The delayed ace, but they do take down every member of the enemy. Picks up the scuttle. Smeb needs to invest his teleport to do it, but a big amount of gold from the bounty.
Yeah, exactly. 7,000 now the lead for KT. This is nothing like game number one. That was very close for a long time, and this is what KT's composition can do. Get themselves together, lock down picks if ever they see someone by themselves. And they've had sole vision of this area for a very long time.
And yet, look how much of a fiesta it is. It's a 24 damage Baron that's auto-attacked by a Jace to go down, so it could have been a Peanut steal, and this fight goes a little bit differently. You almost see Ruler hard carry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Life sacrifices himself. Fly does the same thing, but they did set up a great double knock-up. This wasn't to be, as Ruler just gets ran around, and there's just too many GAs and problems here for them to worry about.
Cleanse is open by the end. He plays this as well as he can, but outnumbered. And then Smeb with Guardian Angel. Just run up. He's 3 levels ahead and has 6 items, I believe, so.
Yep, not a lot that he could do there. So Ren, he wanted to use it as late as possible, but it was a little bit too late in the end, and KT fans are so happy that they're doing well. Remember, Gen.G do want a team fight though, and now KT do have to come to them.
At the previous item point, maybe, but now it feels like Gen.G lose in every scenario. 1-3-1, team fight. I don't think this is going to be enough, as it's so much threat from Jace, Yasuo, and Lucian at this point in the game. They're pushing up, though, and Siege is not an area outside of Jace they are fantastic in, so I think Gen.G will have to fight anyway.
Yeah, the Shock Blasts were landing, though, in the mid lane. Wave is not quite knocking on the door just yet, though, as Ruler. Very aggressive move. They are just going to blow up the Braum so well, but Peanut has dived in. He is in the right position. Sacrifice, but down to a GA, and Ruler is at full health. There's a lot of low health bars on KT's side, but the Jarvan just cannot withstand this. And CuVee now, he's holding on to his ultimate, but he just can't get in position to use it.
There's no front-to-back team fight, and the Lulu does not provide enough to actually impact the fight. No damage from her, of course. I think KT's going to force that game number 3 and 6 on the night, Atlas.
Yep, exactly right. Yesterday was 6 games as well, and today It was the 6 games that we wanted, Papa Smithy. Ruler going to try and salvage this one as best he can, but I think even he knows that this could be a really big problem. Score has to go into a stopwatch, and Fly is going to set up that kill, and now Gen.G hold on for a little bit longer. It does feel like the beginning of the end here for Gen.G. Probably should start thinking about game number 3 and what they're going to change moving in there, and I think Lulu not being part of a team composition is the first choice.
I think also just first rounding something for Fly probably has to be the way, because if we're getting to Lulu, there's some champ pool issues, right?
Yeah.
But we're going to go and rewind to the fight here. Fly takes most of his health bar, and I'm going to focus on the Lulu, which of course I was very skeptical of. Gets one Wombo there, I believe, onto Peanut, is in fact the wild growth, and then all he can really do is try to put shields for Ardent Sensor onto Roy. He doesn't threaten any damage, and just can't contribute. It had to be that split timing around 2-item Ballista. It didn't happen then, and while the game doesn't end, it feels like outside of some big KT misplays, it is inevitable.
Yeah. See whether Gen.G can get themselves together. Of course, it's not over until it's over. Baron up in another minute and a half, but now is no longer on this KT squad, but they've got the 2 best inhibitors for taking down the Baron.
And you also look at the CS leads around the game. Ruler has a close to a Flame Horizon over Zenit, almost 100 CS lead, but everyone else is pretty significantly ahead of their opponents.
This is our Ruler going for the Teddy Award, and he's doing a pretty great job at it this game.
And again, we feel like it's more significant because Teddy was growing a reputation as a great player whose team just wasn't there around him. We already know that Ruler's a great player, and yet somehow it can channel something it shouldn't be. He's still on the same squad. He's still a world champion, and his team has so few wins to show for it. But very, very little has been skin off his back when it comes to his reputation. It's still pristine.
Exactly. CuVee still there as well, and he holds that world championship himself. As that's the culling. He's going to come down onto life, but Fate's Call is in there. We've got a decent knock-up. Here's the Wombo combo. Ruler. He's able to grab the first one. BDD going down very low. Already the Jace has done a bunch of work, though, and there's GAs on the side of KT. Rolster, good knock-up onto Smeb, but look at his health bar. It is so incredibly large, and yes, so is Ruler's, but he's just dying. And look, this is how the game has felt the entire time. Ruler against the world, and honestly, this KT Rolster squad has proved that the world is bigger.
And that means it's all about the game 3 in this must-win game to stay away from relegation. Africa are down there. Neither KT nor Gen.G want to join in their plight, and we'll need to know one more game's result before we see who picks up the series win.
Exactly right. One Nexus turret, one Nexus, and KT bring us to a game number 3 and a game number 6 of the night. I'm surprised the both of us can still talk, Papa Smithy, but we're going to have to go the whole distance here as KT do have a much better performance. As far as turnarounds are concerned, that was definitely up there. Gen.G's composition, I think, was far inferior from their Game 1 composition, but now have a chance to right that wrong and give us a competitive game number 3.
I just feel like when you get to the point of the draft where someone is saying, pick me the Lulu, it'll be like Game 1, those like drafts where you try to emulate a strategy that worked the previous game with inferior tools, it's like when you try to make a better pizza with worse dough. It's going to be a worse pizza.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we don't have any of tomato paste for the pizza, so can we? Yeah, can we use chocolate for this mozzarella pizza?
It's similar. The consistency.
Yeah,
we'll
you see, it's still a sauce, right? Yeah, sure, it'd be totally fine. No, that's not how that works. And I'm sorry for tilting a very large amount of people with the chocolate on a savory pizza reference, but
and we're hungry also. So
we are.
That's why we're talking about pizzas. So. What to say?
We did get fed a little bit, but it just wasn't quite enough. You know?
The Ruler problem.
Yeah. That was almost too pointed. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, game number 3 now between KT and Gen.G. There's so much desperation. You can feel it out of the plays, out of the players, because this is all about escaping the relegations that is just looming. Remember, we are very, very close to the end of the season. Playoffs are just around the corner. It's only a few weeks, and then best of 5s are going to start. And for a lot of our Worlds teams, it's going to be possible relegation.
And that's the problem. Those are the best of 5s you don't want to be playing down the bottom. We're going to watch the replay here, and even in kind of a best-case scenario 5v5, it probably can't be any better than this setup for Gen.G where the game was at, it doesn't matter. As we talked about in Champs, they just don't have the damage, and KT have so many free farmed and in some places fed threats, they just run through, and this analogy works pretty well. Like a hot knife through butter.
Absolutely. And Smeb, you saw he executed Fly. That wasn't he killed him in a straight 1v1 or anything like that. No. He jumped on him and murdered him. And then Ruler suffered the same fate, unfortunately, as the conga line of KT members was just not anything that they could deal with. And as you can see, BDD didn't even have to use his ultimate at the start of that fight in order to win. Yeah.
So, Ruler did a lot of damage and they lost.
Yep.
Kind of the story of
the Gen.G 2019 story. Oh, we laugh to keep from crying, guys, because we know how incredibly good Ruler is and how incredibly talented a lot of the players on this Gen.G roster are, but they haven't been able to put themselves together in a way that actually works on the Rift to create victories.
And also, at the end of the day, if it can't be Ruler, it should be somebody else, and that somebody else, we're still waiting for them to merge.
Exactly. Remember, this is 5 versus 5. You know, you solo queue games, you're like, I played really well. If you lose, you still lost because somebody else on your team did it. Ruler hopefully doesn't blame his teammates for that one. They can reset moving into a game number 3, the 6th game of the night. We are going to have a very short break before that. I need to go to the bathroom. It's been a little